.com website and watched William's speech in June 2007. And the guy that's speaking there is completely different from the guy you're meeting now, the comedian.
I was told not to make any jokes by a doctor, because there was once when I was making jokes in my language, I made some people to faint with laughing. So
I had to be careful. But he was nervous. His English at that time was barely existent, and this was just 2 years ago. And so, but what came through in that speech was very clear to a lot of people in the audience, and they were very, very moved by his story. And many of them came to him afterwards and said, we don't think it's right to let you go back to these conditions, and is there anything we can do to help? And William was very clear about that, and he said, yeah, I want to go to school, and I want to continue with my windmills. I want to pump water, because at that point, his original goal was to make this water pump, but he didn't have the materials at first, and so he ended up just making one that created electricity. But he's like, I want to pump water and bring irrigation to my village and other villages, so we don't have to experience this trauma of famine anymore. And so you guys went back. Some people at TED went back with you, and the first thing you did was they put iron sheets, very simple things, but iron sheets on the roof of his family's house, and now the rain didn't come through at night when it rained. And they bought mattresses for his sisters and blankets, and sent them to the doctor for the first time. Just basic needs. And you built this thing. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I also built this machine. I just call it a green machine. I don't know why, maybe because it is green. This windmills pumps water for my mom's garden. Now she grows the vegetables, and some of the vegetables we eat, some of them she sells at the market to find some cash.
Yeah, so it pumps water from a shallow well that his dad had dug a few years back, and but it's not potable, so that water was only used for cleaning and stuff like that. But now it can irrigate this whole garden. For drinking water, William's mother faced kind of a similar obstacle as millions of African women, or women in the third world. It was far away. It required walking. I mean, she would wake up at 4 a.m. every morning and take her pails, and she would walk about a mile and a half to this pump and wait in line with other women, and then they would pump and then fill the waters, and had to drag it back one by one. And it just took so much time that could have been used much more useful ways. So one of the things William also did was dug a borehole, a deep well, and now there was clean water around it. And he put some solar panels to pump this water, the solar powered pump. And how strong is that?
That's each panel is 80 watts, so 80 times 6.
Yeah, and then he designed this structure that water goes in these tanks, and through gravitation into the pool it goes into like 6 taps around the village, and now people from all over can come and they can experience clean water, and it's the only clean drinking water for about 60 miles around William's house. So, and it was that easy, and it didn't cost hardly anything to drill that well. And this is cool. Talk about this.
So we also studying. We set up the drip irrigation system. Now my father grow 3 times a year. Now we no longer go hungry.
And of course, you started a soccer team.
Yeah. We also started a soccer team. What I noticed that in my area there was a lot of young people like me who drop out of school. When they drop out of school, they start smoking marijuana. They start becoming alcoholic. So I was afraid that if most of the young people be doing that thing, it would not be good for them. So in order to keep them busy with something else, I decided to start a soccer team so that they can be sometimes spending their time instead of doing such other bad things to play soccer. Yeah.
This must have meant that you were pretty good at soccer when you were younger.
Yeah, I was good on the bench.
Yeah. That's you, the manager. Yeah. But in all seriousness, this soccer team has had a lot of added benefit. It's a regional club, so these guys play little villages and towns around. And after the famine, his village was very fractured, and not a lot of people recovered from it. But it's really done a good job of bringing people together. It's a real community event now. And it's also sparked several businesses. Now, some women have become entrepreneurs, and they're selling roasted maize and peanuts and a lot of clothing and stuff. And it's these really small opportunities like this for people that really kind of pave the way, the road out of poverty in a lot of places. And it's a hand up and rather than a hand out. And so it's had some nice benefits. And you go to Williams, he's through some other donations. He's got some jerseys and balls and cleats. And now there's 4 youth leagues now in his village. So every time you go to his village, you see all these kids playing soccer. And my favorite part of the story is you got to go back to school.
Yeah, right now I'm back to school. I'm attending school in Johannesburg, South Africa. The name of the school is African Leadership Academy, which aims to transform future leaders of Africa. We are students from 42 countries in Africa.
And it's like a collection of superheroes like William, and they're either, none of them are there because their parents are rich or politicians or whatever. They're all there on merit, and either they scored the highest grade or national exams, or like William, they really struggled growing up and exhibited some fortitude and grit and foresight and to benefit their community. And there's a girl from South Africa. She started these egg hatcheries, and so all these young dropout kids could start businesses and stuff. And his friend Paul was a lost boy from Sudan and walked all the way to Kenya from southern Sudan and nearly died from tuberculosis, but happens to be a genius mathematician who wants to be a doctor and save kids from tuberculosis. So really great people, and I think we'll hear a lot from these kids, not just William, but a lot of these guys. And so I encourage you to go and look at this website, ALA. And William, you started a nonprofit foundation called Moving Windmills Project. It's a nonprofit foundation that it's threefold. They do village projects like the borehole and the soccer club. And William is also, he has 6 sisters, and he's sending all of his sisters to school now. And the neighbor's kids, and his cousins, and his friends, and sending a lot of people to school right now through the money from the book and also from some of these donations. And it's also, in a couple of years' time, I think their goal is to rebuild his primary school. The primary school that he went to was built in 1950, I think, by the Catholic Church. It's not maintained. It was built for like 400 students, and there's like 1,400 to 2,000 students in there now at a given time. There's no roof on half the building. There's no desks. Like 5 kids share a book. And during the hungry season, when a lot of each year is the hungry season when the food kind of runs out before the harvest, all these kids drop out because there's no food for them at school. And so they're working, the World Food Program is working in the school now to give kids breakfast. And it's amazing what breakfast does for kids. I mean, the retention rate is increased. And so he wants to rebuild the school using green, sustainable technology, and has teamed with some people with Architecture for Humanity. And so that's the goal, like main goal of the foundation. So, and you guys are also shooting a documentary film. So that kind of brings us up to date. So we'll show you a clip from that movie, which is pretty cool, and then we can do a Q&A. So.